And that, if you think about the last 3 weeks, it's been the difference in games. They're an efficient offense and did some good things, and we knew they were going to move the ball some, but then a couple of adjustments, some we didn't handle, and some I didn't get out there quick enough, and that's on me as a defense coordinator.
Randy, how do you go about getting more turnovers? What is it? Mental? Is it work in practice? Of what
For sure, practice. We've got to get it more in practice, and we were riding their rear ends today, and it's just got to be habit. And this game, we just did not have that.
Pat talked about you guys maybe thinking too much on defense, or your guys thinking too much. How much of that was them just not being sure about what to read? Maybe did you feel like guys weren't reading?
No, none of that. The bottom line is they were trying to do too much.
Okay.
The game got tough, and instead of doing their job, there were a couple things they did that, they're trying to do things to help win the game, and if you don't do your job on defense, as in offense, things sometimes go awry, and sometimes that happens. But the kids were working; they were playing hard. Don't get me wrong there. You just got to continue to do what you do the way you do it, and that's what happened.
Is that a normal reaction, where people will automatically, hey, I'm going to go to try?
Well, it is for an 18 to 20-year-old. I hope at our age maybe that's not, but I would say we probably would do the same thing at times. But it's the thing that especially younger guys who play less sometimes. The first time that happens and you have some adversity, you learn from it, and we will, because the season's definitely not over, I guess, because you guys are still here. So if you wouldn't be, then I might think otherwise.
This defense is generally pretty good against the run. What did Western Michigan kind of do against you guys to get ahead of the sticks?
Well, they threw the ball, and when they threw the ball, then our kids tried to compensate by trying to stop what? The throw. When you do that, then you give up runs, and literally that's what happened.
Ellaby was getting popped a lot, after the throw, just after.
Say that again?
Caleb Ellaby, their quarterback, was getting hit.
Yes.
Yes. You guys were getting to him, it looked like a tick late. What stood out on film in that regard when you guys were just?
Well, he's one of the most efficient quarterbacks that we've seen, and especially in their offense. And you're right, he got the ball off one step too quick sometimes, and sometimes we got there one step too quick, and ultimately that's the difference in a catch or an incomplete pass or a turnover, and that was where it happened.
How involved is Pat, with the play calling, running play after play after play? Does he get involved?
He talks to me about stuff.
Does he
for sure.
veto many plays?
No.
Is there time to do that?
No, we talk about it. We both talk about certain things between series for the most part.
Yesterday, Pat said that there were some things that if he were in the booth or in the box, that if he saw, maybe it would have been fixed. When you hear something like that as a guy who's calling the plays, what kind of goes? I guess what's that dynamic like?
Yeah, I don't think twice about it. He's an emotional guy and wants to win, and that's probably the truth. He would tell you a lie. So.
How do you feel about your secondary? You had some young guys like Rashad in there.
Sure.
There were some plays where AJ Woods might have been able to switch off of his man to help bring down a couple of those passes outside. How do you feel like they're taking on the week-to-week adjustments?
Well, they are. The problem is sometimes we're not just executing it as well. If you think about it, we had 3 NFL guys back there last year, and now it's younger guys. They've played, but they have not played as much, and so execution sometimes lacks a little more than that NFL guy who's getting paid right now on Sunday.
Are you limited at all on what you can say or do in the game and say, like, oh, they're doing this? Well, all right, we'll just go back to this thing that we haven't done for 2 years, but we've done it before because DeMar Hamlin was there and he remembers it. When you have guys that are new, is it more difficult to kind of
sure.
Go off the board there?
Your senior who's an NFL player, who's an elite player, some of those things that carry over 4 or 5 years, yes, they can make different adjustments because the younger guys probably haven't had those situations. So that's a true statement.
What can you do to? Obviously you only have 3 days of practice. It's not like you can say like, here's everything they might do to us, and here's how do you kind of coach up those guys, especially guys in the safety spots, which have so much different responsibility?
That's a very good comment early in the season, especially because you're playing teams who haven't played. Like New Hampshire played 1 game in the spring last year. So you're looking at a couple games this year, one game in the spring last year, and then you're all the way back to 2019. So, you know, early in the season this year, it's unique because you're playing teams that you're somewhat unsure, and that makes it very difficult for younger guys because some of those adjustments, you know, that you make with an older guy, you know, are probably not capable with younger guys. So it's a good point.
Did it make it more difficult for you because McDonald didn't coach in 19? Now he is.
No, I don't think so. I think their offensive coordinator is the same offensive coordinator.
Turnovers aside, what are you looking to see from this defense over the next week, 2, 3 weeks to make improvement?
I'm looking for them to respond, as we all, when you have adversity, you teach them and you all work on, you know, overcoming it. And that's based on what I know, this is life.
Today,
Everything you do.
Pat said yesterday that the vibe on Sunday that guys were sort of okay, like they, and they were sort of loose or whatever. I mean, and I asked him, like, do you want them to be like just sort of over it? I mean, as a coach, do you want them to be kind of like still? I know you have your 24-hour rule, but
I think they were hurt, quite frankly. I know on defense they were, and you know we're doing everything we can to shake them out of it because it's tough. And I believe today was a good example. They went out there and practiced hard, and I think we'll move on, shake it off, and go on. Again, like I said, you guys wouldn't be here if the season was over.
You have a lot of guys that carried over, like, you know, Desmond, guys that have been in the locker room for quite some
Sure.
time. You know, not just this loss, but, you know, 34 points against Tennessee. And I know they're an SEC opponent. Is there a sense that it's like, hey, we got to straighten this up right now because we can't allow that to be a trend?
For sure. We're going to get better this week. We talk about getting 3% better every day, and I believe we did today. So I'm proud of the guys.
I know the time of possession was heavily in favor of them and it was hot on Saturday, but do you guys felt like you rotated too much the other day?
No, we had 90 plays. It was important to rotate. That was a lot of plays. You know, some of it was us not getting off the field. Some of it was we scored fast. You know, and they are a ball control team. So we knew we had to. You know, unfortunately, you're not rotating an NFL guy out. You're rotating 2 younger guys right now. So all of them are in learning experiences.
Randy, there was a call, it was 3rd and 12 in the third quarter where I think John Patrician blitzed from like way far out and you had Haba dropping back in coverage. And although he still had to fit a tight passing window, but is that a play where like John would need to close in a little bit closer, or was there an alignment issue there with that play, if you remember that play?
I'm not going to get into specifics of every play because we do play that defense, and I sure don't want the next opponent to know. So I appreciate the question.
Randy, to your earlier point, though, you said the team has responded. Like, you've liked how they responded today.
Absolutely.
You feel
We've talked all along about adversity. That's part of life, and it's part of the game. And at 18 to 20 years old, they're going to have that the rest of their life. And if you don't respond to it positively, you know, it doesn't get better. I believe the kids did.
You have kids taking ownership of the situation, like coming to you and saying, Coach, you know, I messed up there, it was me, it was on me.
Well, the bottom of the line is the ownership relies on me. So let's just put it right there.
Anything else?
With Servassier, 3 weeks into him being middle linebacker, how do you think he's handling that responsibility?
Love him in there. He's doing a great job. He really is. He's learning, don't get me wrong, but hung in there pretty good for a little bit smaller Mike linebacker, even in an SEC game. So, yeah, I think he's doing well. And every day is a learning experience, obviously.
Randy, Pat mentioned yesterday that, and I couldn't tell if he was kidding or not, that he considered going up to the box like this week. Did he verbalize that to you at all?
No.
There was no conversation about that?
I think he was kidding.
Have you guys talked about, you know, changing? You mentioned that there's give and take, but has he said anything this week about wanting to be more, maybe even upping that communication during the games?
No, I think we are usually pretty good with that. We may have missed a couple things, but we'll get that right. We'll be fine.
All right. Brady, thank you.